A lot of people think it's almost like book. It's cookie cutter. Oh, we'll just go up there and we'll argue the facts. And if someone's telling you that and they've never litigated tried cases, that's not who you want.
Willie D. Live.
What's the strategy for negotiating that money? Like, I'm very interested in how. I have no ambitions to become a lawyer,
no.
but
listen,
I've always been very intrigued by law.
Yeah.
And when it comes to accidents and making that settlement, like, how do you determine when you're going to settle? If they put a number out there, how do you determine? Okay. That's a fair number.
Right.
I know you got to go to your client and actually tell your client this was on the table.
Of course.
Do you tell your client every number they put out?
If it's already a number under what we've discussed, I don't need to go back to them and get reauthorization. If it is a different number than we discussed, yes, I do go back to them. But to your point, I will tell you what I tell. I've been on like somewhat of a school tour talking to young kids. We were recently at Incarnate Word. I did a panel. And it was funny. They're like, how are you so successful? What makes you different than other civil firms? And I said, what makes me different is that I was actually a prosecutor prior to this, right? So my job literally almost every day or every other day for that 5-year term, I was in trial. 95% of civil attorneys have never seen the inside of a courthouse, a courtroom. They've never stood before a real jury. They've stood before a panel of peers, so other attorneys that they've paid to come in and be like a trial jury where they can practice in front of them. But I have stood in front of individuals, and I have tried almost every type of case. And I've seen the fairest jurors, and I've seen the most illogical juries, and stuff that I would have never thought about had I not actually tried cases before this. A lot of people think it's almost like book. It's cookie cutter. Oh, we'll just go up there and we'll argue the facts. And if someone's telling you that and they've never litigated tried cases, that's not who you want. And because you have to take those things into consideration. How are they going to look at my client? What are some things I need to argue to get their biases out of their mind, to keep them from believing, well, we're just here so this poor little person can get some money. That's all they're here for. Well, no, it's more than that. It's more than what you see on the surface. People tend to watch so much television. I used to say that in my criminal trials. I'm like, 95% of Americans spend most of their time, if not all of their time, watching television. And when you watch television, it plants a lot of stuff in your mind, whether these preconceived notions, these biases. So when you hear someone talk a certain way, you equate it with X. If you hear someone that may have a certain dialect, you're going to equate it to something else, right? And so all of those things come into play in the human mind, whether you want them to or not. And those are things as a trial attorney, I understand. So when I'm negotiating with those adjusters or the attorney, I talk to them as if I'm in front of the jury right then. So I lay stuff out and I'm like, I just want you to know I have tried cases, several cases, not even on the criminal side, but on the civil side. When I get in front of a jury, this is what I'm going to explain. And this is exactly what I'm going to show them. Here's what you guys are going to say. And I understand that this is a weakness in our case, but let me tell you the strengths in our case. And then let me tell you why a jury is going to hate to hear what your defendant did at this car accident scene or at this truck accident or with this wrongful death case. Let me explain to you what I know and what I've seen in my experience as someone who has tried several cases. And I have had adjusters and other attorneys say, I have never had an attorney who is able to lay it out to me like you did or articulate the way you were going to defend at trial or prosecute us at trial. And you know what? Because of that, we're going to go ahead and give you policy limits. I promise you not. I wish I had it recorded. We do have it recorded. I can't put that information out, right? Because we had to sign, release documents, but we got policy limits for that person. It was over 100,000. And they literally told me, we have never had an attorney who was able to articulate the way you did what you were going to demonstrate at trial.